Broadcasting from Cartagena. Oh my God, I'm sorry. That's it. Okay.
Over. It's okay. Start over. Start again.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is the Gen Z broadcasting from Cartagena. Sarah greets you. In today's broadcast, we have environmental news. Is the COVID-19 good for the environment? We have information of the local economy. We are bringing a section named Crime that will blow your mind. And last but not least, sports. So you can start now with the environmental news, then economy, later sports, and last, crimes.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to Gen Z News. I am Valeria Hernandez, and today I'm going to be informing you about the current environmental news that concerns all of us. In our first section, we'll be discussing the effects of COVID-19 to the environment. We'll be questioning ourselves. Is the lockdown giving our planet time to heal, or is it preparing us for a worse future? Since the beginning of the quarantine, we've been told that while we are in the lockdown and in our houses, the planet is healing, which is a bad lie. While it is true that now the air is cleaner, with factories cleansing, with lockdowns easing, experts fear that the world risks a future with more pollution, more contamination, and a climate change that worsens faster than ever before. Because now we have the same lifestyle as we had ever before. We still have the same cars, we still have the same industries, which means that once the lockdowns is over and the quarantine ends, we'll go back to what we were before, which is per se absolutely something that the earth can face, because it won't be good for our environment. The thing is, these are not only scientists' predictions, because this is already happening in our reality. For example, China, the first country to go into lockdown and one of the first ones to start reopening. The dramatic air quality improvement was amazing. All of us were completely surprised once the news from the air quality improvement in one of the most polluted areas on Earth. But now that they are reopening, this air quality improvement has completely vanished. Some people can even say that it's even worse than it was before, because industries want to make up for the lost time, which means that they are going to take advantage of the monetary help that they have been gaining during this quarantine, because governments are trying to help the industries. But the thing is that now that the industries have more money than ever, they'll be polluting bolder than ever before. Some governments, particularly the United States, are acceding to companies' pleas for cash, regulatory rollbacks, and other special favors. There's a serious risk that polluters could emerge from this crisis bolder and potentially more profitable than ever, which means that they'll be causing more pollution to our planet. But it's not only what is going to happen while the quarantine is over, because some are taking advantage that media is focused on the current coronavirus, so they start doing some things that aren't good to our planet. In Brazil, illegal loggers have been accelerating the destruction of the Amazon rainforest, while the coronavirus ravages the nation. The lungs of our planet are being destroyed, and the Brazil government is not doing anything about it, leaving the indigenous group that live there more vulnerable than ever before. Now that their home is not only being destroyed, but also they are getting sick because of the current effects of the pandemic. Now, my partner, Alejandra, will keep going with the next section of this environmental news. Unfortunately, my partner seems to be having problems with her internet, so she is not currently connected. So I'll be explaining to you the news that she was going to inform you, which revolves around the water pollution and the newest discoveries about it. First of all, we need to understand that around the 70% of the water in the 97% of the water in our planet is salt water, which means that around 3% of the water is the one that we can drink, which is why it is important for us to protect the fresh water in our planet. The recent discoveries have shown that the freshwater species population have decreased by 88% on the last 40 years, which is more than the double rates observed in the terrestrial and oceanic species. Which means that in our current situation, we are losing the animals that are alive in these freshwater resources because of the contamination we've created into it. Some studies also show that since the 1900 year, about 70% of the continental water that it's also a way to call these freshwater resources have disappeared because of the waste that have been directed to these zones, which is way faster than it is in the coastal lines, which is something that we can bear. Now, the ONU reports advances in clean water, sanitation, and hygiene. The ONU have shown some of the reports in which they explain that in our reality, around 30% of the population still lacks safe ways of drinking water. Meanwhile, more than 80% live without the adequate sanitation to stay healthy, which is now not only an environmental problem, but also a problem in how us are living our lives. Now, reaching our final section in this environmental segment of the news today, we are going to close the program giving you, our dear viewers, some tips and ways to protect the water. So first of all, don't use antibacterial soaps or cleaning products because these contaminate and pollute our water. Second, don't flush on water outdated medicine down the toilet or in the drain because this is totally unhealthy. Also, don't put anything that isn't water down the storm drains. 4, fix the leaks that drip from your car and put down a liner in your driveway to collect the oil. 5th, avoid using pesticide and chemical fertilizers because they are really dangerous for our environment. 6th, choose non-toxic household products whenever possible. 7th, pick up after your pets. 8th, don't pave your property because when it rains, it creates floods. 9th, spread the word and be a water advocate. And 10th, last but not least, keep informed in how to help the local environment in order to always have an open mind regarding the environmental necessities of where you live. Now, for more news, stay tuned to our channel Gen Z News. Thank you everyone for your attention.
Now we're going with the economy's news. We had a change, so they're going first.
Economy team, please.
Hello, good morning. This is Gen Z News. I am Stephanie Martinez, and today in economic news, we have the crisis of companies in pandemic. The pandemic has had a disastrous impact in some productive sectors and has sent thousands of companies to the canvas. But in the midst of adversity, many entrepreneurs plan to get up again. These are their stories. 6 months after the start of quarantines, curfews, partial closures, pilot plans, prohibitions, and other isolation measures, business scars begin to appear. Thousands of companies exhibit today they won't survive the drop in income, the beyond consumption, and difficulties to reopen. However, many entrepreneurs also show their class, and instead of succumb, they are already working on their new dream. Now, Nelson Figueroa will give us more details about the news.
Okay, thanks. From my notice, the closure has saved dozens of lives, but as the goal of the economy at least 70 trillion pesos, which devastate many companies. The balance sheet shows millions of unemployed, huge debt, and huge loss for the entrepreneurs. The disaster figures are just the beginning to come out. During the pandemic, 624 companies are being monitored by the Superintendency on Companies. Enters into the process of restructuring and insolvency. They represent 4.97 trillion pesos in liability and more than 27,000 jobs in danger, and more than a third of companies, 38%, would be at risk according to the superintendency. Now, go with Miguel with the local news.
Okay, the empty streets of the tourist center of Cartagena, India in the last month and a half are the metaphor of the economic cataclysm that the coronavirus leaves in the hour of national tourism. Among other positions, the Cartagena Chamber of Commerce maintains that the crisis eliminated 40,000 direct jobs throughout the city. Only in the district center, according to the entity, 2,000 companies registered as bars, clubs, and restaurants are on the verge of bankruptcy. Another 2,000 companies like the Boca Grande, Getsemani, and Manga sectors went bankrupt. 95% of the merchants in Cartagena reduced their income and 51% reduced their sales between 80 and 100%. This is said by Patricia Osorio, the director of FENALCO. Examples of many jobs that employees laid off: Trascaribe drivers, mechanics, pediatricians, private sellers, and doctors and lawyers. Then my partner, Daniela Guzman.
Daniela?
Sorry, one moment, please. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Daniela Guzman. In Colombia, the local economy is upper middle income. I mean, in stand out in the international arena for the significant growth it has had in the last decade with the export of products, and for what is offered to foreign investment. It is good to note that it is the fourth largest economy in Latin America, after those of Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina. It already decade the main means of earning foreign exchange in Colombia. It focuses on external sales of cotton. However, there are several sectors that make Colombia one of the most recognized countries for its production, such as emeralds, and floricultures. The textile industry sector also stands out, and it is an important exporter of gold, sapphires, and diamonds, and among other products. Please, we continue with Andrea Leon with international news. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. I'm Andrea de Leon, and I'm here in Central Park, New York, to tell you a bit more of economic news. For example, the World Bank's Board of Executive Directors today approved an envelope for $12 billion for developing countries to finance the purchase and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, tests, and treatment for their citizens. This financing aims to support vaccination of up to a billion people, and it's part of an overall World Bank's package for more than $160 billion through June of 2021, the following year, to help other countries help fight against the pandemic. This adds to the emergency programs that are already reaching over 100 countries. In other news, COVID-19 has generated greater poverty in children and teenagers. UNICEF and the World Bank warned that poverty and extreme poverty would increase sharply in these age groups, especially affecting those children and teenagers who come from homes where the parents have low productivity or informal jobs. Given the effect of the economic reactivation, 2021 will be a key year to prioritize policies in favor of the younger generations so as not to lose their achievements made in the previous decades. Gen Z cares about your opinions, so stay tuned for questions at the end. Now, back to Santiago.
Years of experience, millionaire profits in the past, and thousands of employees. These are the top 5 huge companies that are not resisting the coronavirus pandemic. Number 1, Hertz. The car rental company has entered a loss due to the economic crisis due to COVID-19. The containment measures have reduced the traffic of travelers and tourists, reducing Hertz income and preventing the company from meeting its obligations to creditors. Number 2, LATAM. The company, which has positioned itself as one of the most important airlines in America, has joined the list of companies most affected by the crisis. They have had to lay hundreds of employees and announced to file for bankruptcy law Chapter 11 in the United States due to the restrictions caused by the measures of confinement and closure of the air borders. Number 3, Cirque du Soleil. Due to the impact of the crisis on entertainment companies, the Cirque du Soleil dismisses 4,000 employees and declares bankruptcy, unpleasant news for the most recognizing circus on the world. The company did not support the restrictions to COVID-19, which led the cancellation of its show, generating millions of losses, according to the Deutsche Welle. J. Crew. J. Crew, the well-known brand in charge of dressing the former First Lady Michelle Obama, due to its fall in turnover due to the current pandemic, has declared bankruptcy. In the Federal Court of Virginia, he filed for Chapter 11, where he hopes to hand over control to his lenders in exchange for cancellation of $1.65 billion. Number 5, Aeromexico. Aeromexico, the main airline in Mexico and one of the largest in Latin America, reported its Tuesday that it had filed for bankruptcy in the United States to restructure its debt to the unprecedented impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in its sector. This was Santiago Arraza from Gen Z News.
Thank you, Santiago. This is all for the economy news. Thanks for your attention. Now we're going to continue with crime news.
Okay, now we are going to start with the crime group. Oh no, the sport group.
Well, sports is all forms of usually competitive physical activity which, through casual or organized participation, aim to use, maintain, or improve physical abilities and skills, providing entertainment to participants and, in some cases, spectators. Hundreds of sports exist, from those requiring only two participants to those with hundreds of simultaneous participants, either in teams or competing as individuals. Sports are generally recognized as activities which are based in physical density with the largest major competition, such as the Olympic Games admitting only sports meeting this definition, and other organizations such as the Council of Europe using definitions producing activities without physical element from classification as sports. But we all know the situation these days, and I'm pretty sure that everyone wants to know about how the coronavirus is affecting the sport world. That's why we have Sara Sampaio here in our news.
Thank you, Sarah. In recent days, and increasingly, COVID-19 is making its impact felt on Colombian and international sports. There were athletes infected or quarantined, events postponed or canceled, and others that were made or made behind closed doors, while clubs and federations take a series of measures to mitigate the effects of the coronavirus. For its part, cycling relates its work calendar thinking of a break in activities from August, if the COVID-19 pandemic allows it, including levels such as La Vuelta a España and the Tour de France. It has been known all the teams in the international peloton had to increase, more than normal, their investment in order to bring two representatives to each of the roles. The squads are spending tens of thousands of euros to implement the new biosecurity protocols required by the UCI and established by the organizing committee for each race. Tom Dumoulin is Primoz Roglic's right-hand man and the second car to fight to the Tour de France in the Jumbo-Visma and criticized the biosecurity measures that the public that follows the competition has adopted. I am happy with all the cheerful people along the road, but on a climb like this is still as a risk, said Dumoulin, according to the Dutch newspaper AD. In the end, everything is closed, but that is to show off. So if they are infected with the coronavirus, cyclists riding alongside them can also get infected, he added.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Now we're going with David Pardo and Mar, a specialist in sports. What are the news for today?
Thank you, Sarah. Today, I'm going to talk about the MLS soccer. Professional soccer in the US was put on hold indefinitely in March. US soccer canceled all friendlies involving the men's and women's teams, as showed the national team training camps. CONCACAF suspended all competitions. The MLS teams have resumed limited training on the hopes of restarting this summer. The Women's League will be holding a 25 game in two stadiums in June. No spectators will be present. Thank you.
All right. The International Olympics Committee. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics have been postponed and rescheduled for July 23 to August 8 of 2021. The Premier League, the English Premier League official broadcasters, say the competition will restart on June 17. The BBC and Sky Sports say that there will be a doubleheader on that day with Manchester City playing Arsenal and Aston Villa hosting Sheffield United. Bundesliga. The German Soccer League, DFL, suspended its season on March 13, but the league announced on May 7 that it will be returned on May 16, with no spectators present. The League One. French Premier Minister Edouard Philippe announced on April 28 that the 2019 and 2020 season of professional sports won't be able to resume. The top two divisions in French soccer both had 10 leagues games left to play. La Liga. The Spanish league suspended all play on March 2023. It hopes to restart on June 12. Players must undergo COVID-19 testing and observe safety measures instituted by the league and the government in order to train on practice fields. The Champions League. The league, the league suspended and it will be returned on March 1st. And the Asian Football Confederation. World Cup qualifiers in Asia postponed until at last September. Although the matches could take place as scheduled if all relevant parties agree. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mara and David. Now we have this section where you can learn some interesting but fun facts about sports. Juliana, you have the word.
Okay, now some fun facts about sports I bet you didn't know. Pittsburgh is the only city where all the major sport teams have the same colors that are black and gold. The Major League Baseball umpires are required to wear black underwear in case they split their pants while on the job. The silhouette on the NBA logo is a Hall of Fame Laker Jerry West. Kite flying is an actual professional sport in Thailand. The Olympic rings cover every flag in the world. The colors that are yellow, green, red, black, and blue were the colors selected because at least one of those colors appears in every flag in the world. The longest tennis match took place in 2010 at Wimbledon, where John Isner of United States beat Nicolas Mahut of France in a match that lasted 11 hours and 5 minutes. It took 3 days to complete. And last but not least, golf is the only sport that has been played on the moon.
Thank you, Juliana. Now to end our section, we're going with Mariana and Jose broadcasting from Barranquilla.
From the Metropolitan Stadium, I will talk about the importance of sport. Sport has the power to help develop physical skill, exercising, socializing, having fun, learn to play as part of a team, learn to play fair, and improve self-esteem. Sport helps children in their physical development improve and strengthening their physical and mental capacity. Young people are usually more physically active than adults in a healthy child interested in healthy activity. Is always on to go. However, in adults, it is also vitally important to perform some physical activity to stay healthy. In children, continuously practice of physical activity can improve fitness by that develop motor skills and formation of a motor activity in the child should occur in various sport disciplines. And also, we currently live in a society where these things easily turn to unhealthy activities smoking, drinking alcohol, drugs. And the problem of the tobacco, drugs, alcohol in adolescents moves to a trade, and one of the solutions more effective is to establish in the child healthy habits of physical activity that serve as factor protect. In conclusion, sport is something that should be seen most are practiced by everyone and not only on the TV. In my opinion, there should be many more public activities everywhere to everyone.
Good morning. Today I will tell you a little about what sports has been or was. Um, years, perdón.
Are you having problems with your sound or something? I think we would have to continue with the other section. It seems like he's having trouble with his
True, I
sound.
agree with you. Continue with the next section.
Okay, welcome ladies and gentlemen, and now we are going to start with the crime section. Um, the crime section have a lot of topics. My topic is the real killer, and the serial killer that we are going to talk today is Theodore Bundy. Theodore Bundy was born on November 24, 1946 in Vernon, USA, and was a serial murderer who raped and murdered university students. In his childhood, he grew up with his parents. His parents was violent, fond of pornography, and human and animal abuse, acted that he didn't find from the age of his ransom. As an adult, Ted Bundy studied psychology and law and was recognized for helping the community. But because his childhood that didn't feel part of the community and began activities such as violence has later become rape and murder college students with three characters that was long, black, straight hair. Bundy shoots victims in universities and supermarkets in the day and takes them to the car where he beats, kidnaps them to take them to a place where he raped and murdered them. He killed a large number of students of various universities in the state of Oregon, Utah, Colorado, and Florida between 1996 to 28 murders, of which only 14 bodies were found. He was arrested for incriminating material that related him to the murder they had been looking for some time. While awaiting trial, he escaped 2 times, in which he continued with crimes. After several studies of that behavior, students and scientists say that he was a psychopath because of her childhood, since two kinds of activities wouldn't have a normal person. Ted had studied law, so he knew how to respond to the law. Uh, Coming to represent himself before the law, his judicial process lasted 5 years since his accusation in 1975. In 1980, he was sentenced to the electric chair thanks to conclusive evidence of the forensic dentist, who found his death in one of the victims. Tex was executed 9 years later, leaving behind a list of 28 victims and a black past in American story. Now we are going to continue with the Medellin cartel with Maria Jose.
Thank you, Alejandro, and welcome to my session that is the Medellin Carter. The Medellin Carter was the terror of Medellin, and he was later was Pablo Escobar, a, a highly drug trafficker in these two cities, and so by the day until his death. Many in the 21st century see Pablo as a hero or as a man who who was ending a thousand of lives. For example, the Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla, the journalist Guillermo Cano, and the presidential candidate Luis Carlos Galán. Another of his many attacks was where the 7 tons of dynamite on a bus and explode in trains on the Difuntement de Department de Das. And the last is the fall on the plane that that left more than 100 died with any survivors. And this attack didn't go to a list of people. Was was only a president candidate, Cesar Gaviria, and the end he don't travel in this flight. Now we're going to continue with Ines.
Thank you, Maria Jose. My section is about the Cartel de Cali.
The Cali cartel, in Spanish Cartel de Cali, was a drug cartel based in southern Colombia, around the city of Cali and the Valle del Cauca department. Its founders were the brothers Gilberto Rodríguez Orejuela and Miguel Rodríguez Orejuela, and Jose Santa Cruz Londoño. They broke away from Pablo Escobar and his Medellin associates in the late 1980s, when Elmer Pacho Herrera joined what became a formal executive board that ran the cartel. At the height of the Cali cartel's reign from 1993-1995, they were cited as having control over 80% of the world's cocaine market and were said to be directly responsible for the growth of the cocaine market in Europe, controlling 80% of the market there as well. The Medellin cartel was its main rival. Both organizations even sustained an armed confrontation in the middle 1980s. The war between the cartels ended with the delivery of Pablo Escobar to the Colombian authorities in June 1991. Samper responded by chasing the leaders of the organization without quarter. One by one he fell. The first was Jose Santa Cruz Londoño, who was detained in a restaurant located north of Bogota. The second to fall was Gilberto Rodríguez Orejuela in June 1995. Now we are going to continue with Valentina Jaimes with terrorists.
Thank you, Inés. Welcome to my section called Terrorists. I will tell you about 5 terrorist acts that have made history. 1. 11 in New York. The attack prepared by Al-Qaeda aiming to the Twin Towers is the greatest act of terrorism in history. Since in addition to the fatalities who traveled in the planes, we must add the hundreds of people who died from breaking the towers. 2. 11 in Madrid. The history of terrorism in Spain will be marked forever by the 10 simultaneous explosions in 4 different trains on the morning of March 11, 2004. 3. Car bombs in the USA embassies. On August 7, 1998, 2 car bombs exploded in the capital of Kenya and Tanzania, right in the vicinity of the US embassies in both cities. The attacks were linked to Al-Qaeda and more than 200 people were killed. 4. Oklahoma bombing. This is how another of the worst terrorist attacks is known, which took place on April 9, 1995 in Oklahoma, in the United States. An American named Timothy McVeigh attacked the Arthur P. Murrah Federal Building with an explosion that destroyed the facade and took the life of 168 people. 5. 70 in London. In British lands, there have also been attacks, one of the largest with a dog on July 7, 2005 in London Transport. 3 bombs exploded in the subway and a 4 in a bus, causing a total of about 50 fatalities. Now, we continue with Kathleen, who is going to tell us about robberies.
Hello, my name is Kathleen Morales. Today at 3 o'clock happened the British Bank of the Middle East robbery. In 1976, in one of the most recent robberies of all the time, the group used explosives to burst through the wall of a Catholic church and enter the neighboring British Bank of the Middle East. They brought with them professional locksmiths to crack open the vault. The robbers made off with 44 million in cash, stock, gold bars, jewels, and other values. None of the loot was recovered and no one was arrested. Today, the stolen goods are worth for more than 3 times their value in 1976. Thank you.
That's the finish of the and the news and continues.
Is that all?
Thanks for watching this.
Is that all? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this time you did better. Congratulations, and I loved the presentations. It's normal that is the first time we're having a virtual English fair. The first time you were nervous, you were like trying to do your best, but this time was the thing I was looking for. So congratulations, everybody. Uh, I am like speechless. I don't know. Wonderful. The presentations, the series of events that you were showing, the way you spoke, everything was great. Congratulations. So now, to finish this English fair, we're going to finish the activity with the interaction with the audience. So you guys who are in charge of the English fair are going to ask some questions to the audience. But before asking questions, let me tell you that the audience is going to participate in the chat room. So you can talk and give your opinions about it. So I don't know, what questions would you like to ask to the audience people? For example, what was the most interesting part of the presentation? What did you like most? It's very important to get feedback from the audience. So audience, people who are here, I want you to go to the chat room and tell me, what was the most important part of the presentation? Which one did you like most and why? What did you learn? So let's go to the chat room and participate. I will read your opinions, class. And also the audience, los que nos están acompañando, los que son aquí invitados, you can also participate in the chat room and tell your opinion about it. While you're participating in the chat room, let me tell you that your work was amazing. I don't know, I'm really proud and happy of being your teacher. And this is one of the most wonderful experiences as a teacher I have had before. So I don't have, the only words that I have is congratulations. Congratulations, you all. You did a really good job. So now let's finish with the chat. So what was the most meaningful experience or the most interesting part of this presentation, something that you liked most? So share.
Teacher, maybe if you say it in Spanish, like I think there's persons here that don't know English.
Sorry?
Like that. Nothing.
That if we're going to
Teacher, sí.
speak in English or in Spanish, because there
The
must be
audience.
a lot of people.
The
Exactly,
audience
because
don't speak English.
Ok,
exactly.
ambos idiomas, tienen razón. Entonces, lo que podemos hacer es, pues, si alguien escribe en inglés, pues ustedes que están a cargo de la presentación en español pueden explicar. ¿Ya? Pues, vamos a esperar que escriben en el chat. La audiencia también puede participar en español. ¿Qué les gustó de la presentación? ¿Qué les pareció? Bueno, mientras la gente escribe, vamos a mandarle saludos a los que nos acompañan. Mauro Villarreal, saludos desde acá de Turbaco. También tenemos a quién más, a ver quién nos acompaña. Who else? Let's see. Juanfre Durán, saludos. Thanks for being here. Ivana Rua. Very good. Here we have more people. Ana Tijera. Alexander Castilla. Welcome to the English Fair. Bien, una de las cosas que más me gustó de la feria fue la sincronización de los eventos. Se ve que se fajaron con todo el mecanismo. Pareció un noticiero, creo que lo hicieron mejor que el noticiero de Telecaribe, to be honest. You did a really good job. Algo que me gustó, pues, unas noticias en inglés. Es innovador y muy interesante. La forma como se desempeñaron en frente a una cámara y de manera online. Lo felicito. Are you going to say something, Santiago? Valentina, Juan José
Teacher, yo quiero
Correa,
decir
Mariana,
algo.
Andrea, Sara, Ivana, Mariana.
For sure. I think this was a really nice experience. I really felt like I was a a a news uh, a news director at first, and then I really thought I was like on a news program, which was great. I think my team did a great job, and all my classmates did terrific job as well. Um, and yeah, we have a couple of questions for the audience that we like to ask that are related to our presentation. So,
Okay, let's do something. You, Andrea, ask the questions in English. And Sarah, I want you to be in charge of the questions in Spanish, just to explain to the audience what the people are talking about. So go ahead.
okay, so first of all, I would like to say Gen Z News programs cares a lot about our viewers and listeners' opinions. So we prepared a couple of questions for you. First is how how did the COVID-19 pandemic affect your economy in your daily life?
¿Qué está diciendo, Sarah?
Ya, ok. Dice que el Gen Z News se preocupa mucho por los...
¿Opinions?
Sí, la audiencia. Y queremos saber cómo afectó la pandemia a la economía del país.
Por la economía en sus casas, ¿no? Personally
Yeah.
speaking.
Sí, es más que todo eso. Economía de cada uno.
Bueno, Kathleen está participando en el chat. Dice que le gustó mucho la forma en que se desenvolvieron sus compañeros, quedó muy chévere. Una pregunta que hizo Sara, ¿could someone name a mental sport? Y Alexandra respondió chess, que es ajedrez. Muy bien. About the situation, maybe the stress at home, because maybe we usually go out on the weekends and we socialize with other people. And maybe that's something that affects me a lot. And also, of course, the economy. Everybody was affected by that. Less hours of work and things. You know, everything is expensive, and sometimes we can pay a lot of debts. So maybe that's what something that happened to me. I don't know what about the rest of the people. Respondiendo a la pregunta de Andrea.
Well, in my case, my dad wasn't affected, thank God, but my mom, she's a teacher, and there was a time that she was really affected because they wasn't paying like all the money, so it was like just 60%. And
That's right.
also there was a time that the mask and all those products that we need, like alcohol, the mask, they were really expensive. So yeah, but we wasn't like that affected, but it was just a time.
An impact.
Yeah.
Bien, para cerrar la sesión, ¿alguien más quiere decir algo? Somebody else wants to say something? Ok, con esta pues participación hemos culminado nuestra feria virtual. ¿Se llenaron las expectativas? La respuesta es sí. Fuimos más allá de lo que se esperaba, los felicito. Entonces, nunca los voy a olvidar. You're going to be one of those classes that we always remember. And of course, for next weekend, remember that we're having the final written exam the last 4 units, and the results immediately. Okay? That's basically what we have for next Saturday. So, friends, thank you very much for being here. Have a nice weekend, and bye-bye.
You too.
Bye,
Bye.
teacher.
Bye bye.
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 Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Bye,
Bye.
Andrea.
Bye.